So in this video, I want to talk about the exact same question as before, but another way to approach it. So before we solve this, let's review our solution. They are formed by two steps. And in the step 1, we need to find the value of a and b, which are a coefficient of the x terms. And in the second step, when there are two unknown variables, we need at least two equations for solving it. The reason is because let's say there is a equation a plus b is equal to 100. We want to find the exact value of a. We cannot find it because there are two unknown variables unless there is one more equation. So at first we can bring our whole information down. For the first information is that a plus b is equal to 8. And we are just doing some steps for finding the value of c, which is a mid-term in the quadratic. And we need one more equation. But we know that ax plus 2 times bx plus 7, and that is equal to 15x squared plus cx plus 14. But according to a binomial theorem, we know that a times b makes 15, which means we can write this down here. A times b is equal to 15, which means a and b are the factor of 15. So we can write our whole information down in a one step. We know that a plus b is equal to 8. And then a times b is equal to 15. And now what I'm going to do is isolate one unknown variable and substitute and replace it into another equation for solving the exact value. So it will going to be 5 steps. Fifth step, and if we subtract b to the both sides to get rid of b to isolate a, we get a is equal to 8 minus b, and we got a exact value of a, and instead of that a we can input values, which is 8 minus b. And then it will going to be step 6. It will going to be 8 times, so 8 times b, that is equal to 15. But we are inputting 8 minus b into a, so we're trying to do 8 minus b times b, and it's equal to 15. And now we can use the distributive property in order to cancel out this parenthesis, and we will get in the step 7 8b minus b squared, and that is equal to 15. And if you look at our equation, we can say that is a quadratic, since we know that the biggest exponent in this equation is 2. And we can remember the basic format of the quadratic equation, which is ax squared plus bx plus c, where c is just a constant, in this case 15, and the b is a coefficient of just a term, which is 8b in this case. And the ax squared is a coefficient of the biggest term, which is a leading coefficient of the b squared, negative b squared. So we can write this down again into a basic format, which will going to be negative b squared plus 8b and minus 15, and that is equal to 0. And in step 9, we could have just factored this out, but if you look at our coefficient of the leading term, it is -1, which is, it'll make complicated calculation. All you have to do to remove this negative is divide both sides. So both sides by -1. So -1 and then -1. And then we get in a step 9, negative b squared divided by -1 is positive b squared. So positive b squared. The positive ab divided by -1 is negative ab. Negative 15 divided by -1 is positive 15. Then that is just equal to 0. And we can bring our equation down here again. So it is b squared plus 8b minus 8b plus 15, and it is equal to 0. And now we can factor it out into a 2 binomial. So according to a binomial theorem, there will be obviously going to be 2 nomials. But at first, b times b will make b squared, which is all we did is we distributed b. And now we can think about in terms of the unknown quantity that I'm pointing out. If we multiply, we're going to get 15. And if we add it, we're going to get -8. So we can think about in terms of the 15th factor, which is at first 1 times 15. And in a second, 5 times 3. And we can think about it in terms of midterm. It is a negative, which means one of them is negative or both of them is negative. But if we multiply, it should give us positive, which means negative times negative gives us positive. So we can think about in this way right now. If we add it, it will go to be -8. -1 plus -15 is -16, which is not equal to -8. But -5 plus -5 is equal to -5 plus -3 is equal to -8, which in this case satisfied. So all you have to do is distribute our factors, which is b minus 5 and b minus 3. And that is equal to 0. And that is equal to 0, which means this term is equal to 0, or this term is equal to 0. So we can write that down. So b minus 5 is equal to 0, or b minus 3 is equal to 0. So in order to find the value of b, we can add 5 to the both sides. We get b is equal to 5. And then we can add 3 to the both sides. We get b is equal to 3. Right now we got the b value, and it was one of the steps of finding the value of c. And now we can just input our b values to our original equation, which is a plus b is equal to 8. So in the 13th step, we can say a is equal to 8 minus b, but the value of b are 5 and 3. So at first, when b is equal to 5, we get a is equal to 8 minus 5, and the 5 is the value of b. And then we get a is equal to 3. There will obviously gonna be second number possibility. When b is equal to 3, it will going to be a is equal to 8 minus 3, where 3, -3, 3 is a number of b. We get a is equal to positive 5. And these are the value of a. But if you look at it, these are the value of a, but it's exactly same with the value of b. So there will be a 2 possibility of the quadratic one at first. So the quadratic one is ax plus 2 times bx plus 7, and that is equal to 15x squared, positive cx in the positive 14. And we know that if we input our values of 3, the b value is going to be 5, which means there will be 2 possibilities when A is equal to 3, and then B is equal to 5, which will going to be 3x plus 2 times 5x plus 7. The 5 is a value of B and the A is value of 3. And then in order to find a value of C, all you have to do is multiply a x term and just a constant term, which means 3x times 7 is 21x, and then 2 times 5x is positive 10x, which gives us 31x, but just a y value is 31. So we can write that down. Y value is 31. And for the last step, there will be also a second number possibility when A is equal to 5 and the B is equal to 3. And when A is equal to 5 and B is equal to 3, you will going to be 5x plus 2 times 3x plus 7. 5 is the value of B, A, and the 3 is the value of B. And we can do the exact thing that we multiply the x term and the quad and the just a constant term, which will turn into 35x. Then plus 2 times 3x is positive 6x, which gives us 41x. But just a c value is 41, which we can say that is 31 and the 41. And if we just go to conclusion of our expression, we can say that our y value is equal to 31 and 41. So if you look at our choices, we can say that our value D is our answer for this question.